What's up, everybody? Sean here with another live Live to Roll video. This week we're going to be talking about quad life on the Quadcast. We got our guest this week is Kara, who is on Instagram. She's kind of a quad. So we'll just do some quick intros real quick. You guys all know me. I'm Sean, C5, C6 quad from a snowboarding accident 17 years ago. Tom, you want to do a quick intro?
Hey everybody, welcome back. Thanks again for joining us. I'm Tom Conaway, C5, C6 quad. I'm 28 years old. I've been paralyzed for 24 years from an automobile accident. And I will pass it on to the guest of the week, Kara. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me. This is super awesome, first off. But yeah, my name's Kara. I am 27 years old. I have a neurological disease that ended up affecting all of my limbs. So I'm a neurological quadriplegic. Yeah, I was a veteran in the Air Force. I don't know.
Awesome. Okay, yeah. So that's kind of what the pod is all about today is quad life, quad living. Yeah. So if you don't mind, we'll just kind of jump on in. Can you explain to us a little bit about your condition, how it affects you, paralysis-wise? And how long has it affected you? Or is it something that's affected your whole life?
When was the onset?
Yeah, so it's called reflex sympathetic dystrophy, and it actually onset back in 2015, in March of 2015. I went in for like a routine surgery, and it showed up like right after I got out of surgery. So like I woke up and we could tell something was wrong. And then a couple of months later, I got the diagnosis. My doctor didn't even want to like tell me what it was. He handed me a sticky note with like 7 letters on it, and he was like, "Oh, this is what you have. Go home and Google it." And so I was like, "Oh, okay." So like I'm hobbling out of it.
Side effects of paralysis at that point? Like
no, we had no idea. So at this point, it's just like a mass amount of pain, like the most pain I'd ever felt in my life. Like I honestly just wanted to kill myself every day. It was so bad. But so like I go home and I Google it, and it's called the suicide disease for that reason alone. Like because it's so painful, people are just like, fuck this, and they're out. But yeah, so a couple of years later, I got into some car accidents and had to have back surgeries, and it actually spread the disease, further up because it is a progressive thing. It does spread. It just normally doesn't spread quite the way it did to me. And then, yeah, I slowly started my mobility.
So how seriously does it affect your mobility?
So I have no motor control, pretty much below my nipples down, and then my hands are kind of stupid.
Yeah. We got the quad.
Yeah, you got it.
Oh, yeah, we got quad hands.
So, I mean, I've learned to pretty much adapt to everything, as I'm sure you guys have. The only difference really is that I'm still losing my function and my motor skills, but you guys are like able to slowly regain.
So tell us a little bit more about that if you don't mind. What is the progression like? Is it onset through trauma? You said it like happened after surgeries. Like will it progress on over time? Do you take drugs to stop it? Is there anything?
There's nothing they can really do to cure it. They think that doing spinal cord stimulators and ketamine infusions will help because it is a nervous system disorder. So they think that doing these things will help it. And unfortunately for me, I didn't have any real benefits. I failed the stim trial twice, and it was just kind of like, it was crazy from the get-go.
Like, are there just like odd criteria you have to meet, or like, do you know why you failed? Like,
it was making me like dance constantly. Like everything was just, there was no stopping it. I couldn't. It was awful.
Yeah, I've met and talked to a ton of quads and paras, and like the spasticity and the spasms are always like different. Like the way, like kind of like the neuropathy, the pain level can be like pretty drastically different from quad to quad or para to para, and then the spasticity can be really wildly different.
I mean, the whole thing is a spectrum for all of us. I mean, you have different hand function than both of us do. It's all a spectrum.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So, speaking on that, how is your pain? Do you deal with pain as a side effect of your disorder as well?
Yeah. I feel like I was lit on fire pretty much constantly.
As that hasn't gotten better since, like, I know you said in the beginning it was all pain. That hasn't
Yeah.
gotten any better. So
I think I've gotten better at like tuning it out, to be honest. You know?
okay, yeah, yeah, no, for sure. That's one thing that we've talked about with other times, like not even on here, but we do a lot of support groups and stuff like that. Me and Tom are both involved with like nonprofits and stuff out here that do like things. One of the things we always talk about is staying busy and just keeping your mind busy, because sometimes there's so much you can do for the pain. You know, you can only take so many painkillers, so many like nerve deadening whatever. Like
Yeah.
a lot of it's just mental. I mean, not all of it, obviously, but like you can only do so much. But I find that helps for me too. So just staying busy, staying active, doing as much as you can. And then what about like working out and stuff? Because I know like you're a pretty active person on your Instagram and stuff. You're out doing all kinds of stuff, not just working out, but just living life, doing stuff.
Yeah.
So like, does that help too? Just being so active, just like with like mobility and stuff. Does also help with pain?
I think it does. I think it's constantly giving me like a good distraction point to like get out of my mind and get into the present moment and just kind of forget about the like woe is me moment, because it doesn't get you anywhere to be woe is me all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
And like you said, both of you guys said, those mechanisms to help you tune it out are, they're hard to find, and they're different for everyone. Like, we keep saying like it's all on a spectrum. Like, what works for me it probably doesn't work for Sean, or works for Sean might not work for you. Navigating, finding those tools, and often having good people in your life that can support you in a healthy way. Also a really huge part of it, because it's not an easy thing to go about alone.
No, it's
That's
not.
for sure. So one thing we do talk about a lot on here is that transition from able-bodied, Tom to quad Tom, able-bodied Kara to quad Kara. Now, you said this is just back in 2015. Do you mind talking to us a little bit about that transition? I mean, I'm sure there have been some ups and downs and some really difficult times. Sean and I have been dealing with this stuff for most of our lives. I mean, Sean said like 17 years. I was paralyzed since I was a kid, so almost all my life. But I'm just like curious, like the difficulty of dealing with that transition, going from being capable and able-bodied to now living your life mobility impaired and stuff. What was that for you?
I had like 3 years basically to transition from fully able-bodied Kara to what you see today, pretty much. So, I've never actually been asked that. That's cool. I don't know. Able-bodied Kara was like self-sufficient and was like the person that people could rely on. And then the beginning stages of like cripple Kara, as I'm gonna call her from now on,
That's all good.
is like, it was that struggle. I was trying to find my purpose again. I was trying to like reconnect with the community that I had lost. Because when I got this, like that was the start of me losing my career. Family members didn't quite agree with what was going on medically with me, and they didn't, one, believe it, or two, want to like, they didn't want to keep it as a truth in their life. So I lost a lot of people in my life. I lost a lot of friends because they couldn't see what was going on internally, and it was awful. I mean, like there was several points in my life that like I almost didn't wake up the next day, and it would have been okay for me. I would have been fine with that. And I'm kind of glad we're past those dark days, but man, it was a rough transition.
It's hard, and we all meet that darkness, and in different forms for everybody. But nonetheless, it's something that I think we all have to face and overcome in terms of, like handling some of the stuff in our life. Now, how did you do it? How did you overcome it? Because I mean, it's like incredible strength and courage and support. Often, I mean, like, were there people in your life? I mean, were there moments or things that you did to help climb out of that? Like for anyone that may be going through it, or there
was a couple big moments for me. The first one, my brother actually kind of low-key caused, and he doesn't, I don't know if he'll ever know this or if he realizes it, but he looked at me and I was like just in so much pain. And you know, when you're just like sitting on the couch and you're just moaning and groaning and you're sounding all like weak and stuff like that. And he looked at me and he was like, "You sound pathetic." And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "You sound so fucking pathetic. Like, that's why nobody wants to be around you, because you're miserable. Fuck that." And he was just done. And I was like, "Whoa, I'm pathetic." Like, and it hit me at the core of my being. I was like, "Holy crap, like, I need to figure this shit out." And so that was when I started kind of regaining my mental, my grasp on things and how to like get over it. And then I had, you know, when you're going down a rabbit hole of like emotions and you're just like struggling, and so you spend all night Googling things just to make yourself feel better.
Yeah.
I came across this late night thing, and this guy was talking about how you can only control 10% of your life. And that is just how you react to things. Everything else is out of your control completely. So
Yeah.
all you have is like how you are letting it be in your life. And that just really struck me. And from then on out, I was kind of different.
Well, you know, I mean, you hit on like a couple big things, you know, which we all experience self-pity. I mean, I know I do. I mean, I still do. Even like having recognized that, like, I've had some really serious periods of self-pity where, like, I've needed some of that, like, hard love, as like to come, you know, it's someone who come up to you and be like, "Hey, like, all right, you can woe is me, you know, a little bit, but at a certain point, you gotta like put up or shut up, you know. You can't just complain forever without, you know, actually trying sometimes and actually doing and actually starting some things. And it can be that hardest part to start and kick yourself off and, you know, get the ball rolling, you know. Um, what you also touched on, what you said is like the mechanism of you can't tackle it all at once, you know, like a little, like baby steps, a little bit at a time, a little bit here, a little bit there, you know, like you can only control 10% at any one given time. So you're a fool if you're sitting there overwhelming yourself, you know, an avalanche of stuff, when you can only pick up a few things at a time and, you know, maybe manage it. And it's even different for us because life in share is not easy. Not only does it take more energy and more time and more patience for everything, but, you know, like we just may not even have 10% we can hold or juggle at one time. It might be less for us just by virtue of our circumstance, you know? And it's a really important thing to understand and recognize. So it's cool. It's amazing that you're able to find that, you know, through those resources, you know. I've done those midnight Google rabbit holes, you know, looking for some resources and some stuff. That's cool, and that's unique.
I was gonna say, I think it's really good to have like somebody that can tell you something like that. Like your brother was like, you know, not everybody's going to say that to you or not be willing to, you know. And for me, it was actually a buddy, the guy that I was roommates with in the hospital. He came to visit me like a year after the hospital, and I was in my room. I had been transferred to my couch, and my chair was completely on the other side of the room. And he came into the room, and he rolled in, and he was like, "You're not even gonna have your chair close. Like, what if there was a fire? You wouldn't even try to get in your damn chair." He's like, "You're just gonna just sit here and die," or like, and that was the thing for me. That was what same thing. I was in like it struck me like, well, I get yeah, I should probably have it close to try and that clicked and something changed in me from that point forward to where I was just like, all right, keep it close, start working to where I can try to do the transfer and can try to do this on my own. And like, you know, it just takes sometimes just that little trigger and somebody that's close enough to you to tell you something that you maybe don't want to hear, but you need to hear it. And it helps. So,
I mean, you guys know a lot of people that are in similar circumstances. I'm finding that people more so are taken, their independence is taken by those doing the things around them that they could be doing.
yes.
It's just people around them are babying them into thinking that they can't get it done.
Oh, it's a big
Yes.
thing that we often talk about, you know, like in support groups and stuff is, and, you know, like early on, like to family members and things like that, during the rehab period is you got to let them fend for themselves sometimes, as much of a struggle as it is. And I am a product of that. I got the best, like, freaking parents in the whole wide world. Yeah, I would never, say I don't. But I was injured as a kid, and they coddled me and they babied me and took care of me. They took care of their disabled child in the way that they, thought was right. And I did a lot on my own, throughout my life, but at home, almost all my life, I had assistants transferring and getting water and getting food, doing things like that. And, it took me years. I mean, and it's still, even to this day, I'm learning how to do things and figuring things out that, if I had been working on earlier, I would have been, I think, a lot more prepared adequately to like live independently and do this. But yeah, it's definitely an important thing.
Yeah.
To learn.
Is there a way to like talk to rehab hospitals and kind of start articulating that, especially for like younger injuries maybe, or reaching out to the parents and saying like, hey, well, I think we understand why you think this is helping, but in the long run, you're actually hurting them and making it harder.
Yeah, well, I think hopefully rehab specialists can see that, like during PT sessions and stuff. Like very often the overbearing caregiver or family member will be like instrumental in the session, not even letting them do their thing. And, a lot of the tough love comes, if the individuals are willing to get involved in support groups. And, we're involved in a foundation here in Southern California called the Triumph Foundation, where we do a lot of adaptive rec events. And you get out there, and there's a dozen of us in the chairs and stuff, like, we're not going to let you be babied because, like, we're all going to push you to, get in there and do it. And a lot of times, like, that's all it takes is being in that environment, and seeing that there's an alternative to just letting, like babying or constantly, hand or being overbearing, and sometimes it's what the person needs early on too in their injury, though. They need the help and they need the assistance. But, one of my favorite mantras is moderation is key for everything, even that comes from help.
That's exactly. It's just important to know when to like stop or like start to ease up on that help and like just let people try to figure it out on their own a little bit, which is hard for family members to watch somebody struggle, like they don't want to watch you struggle, but that's part of this. And that's the only way you're going to get to the next level is to struggle a little bit. So.
And I come from a different mindset because in the military, we're so set on being self-sufficient and being that person that people can depend on no matter what. So like I go above and beyond to not need help ever. And so like I'm really, really bad at asking for it even when I need to. We have like code words so that I don't have to feel like I'm asking for help. And it's, it helps.
So I love that. Honestly, like that little mechanism, like that's amazing because like that is usually it. And I think we're just too damn stubborn because like I'm just too freaking stubborn. Like I will sit there and struggle for an hour rather than ask someone to help me and take 10 seconds, and it's bad sometimes. And I've had to learn that too. And I love that mechanism. I might have to like institute that in my life. Come up with some.
We call it princess time. I'll like look up at him and I'm like, can I be a princess? And he'll pick me up. But I mean, I think the worst is like if you're getting up to a hill that you've been up for the last like 5 minutes, and then somebody comes up and pushes you up the last like 3 feet, and they take it from you, and you're like, no. The worst.
So that is one thing that is a peeve I think of for most of us is when people come up and push your chair without without asking, especially if they don't know you. Like you get random strangers walking up here, let me give you a hand. Like, what are you? No, thank you. Don't
slap people. If you just come out of nowhere and you start pushing me, I take that as you touching me, and then you are getting hit.
Well, that's what it is. Like our chairs are so much like a part of our bodies, Like
it is.
Put our hands on our chair. It's like someone puts their hand on my armrest. Like I'm like, yo, bro, you realize you're in my bubble right now? Like I'm like, get off of me.
The worst is if you're in like the store and you're waiting in line and people don't like realize that you're a person for a split second, and they'll use you as like an armrest or like I have about lost my mind the other day on a woman for this. I just could not fathom the fact that she thought that I was her armrest.
During COVID times too?
Right?
Sounds even
I
scary.
was, yes, during
That's
COVID,
crazy.
it was awful.
Yeah, that's
Crazy.
crazy. That I don't think I've had somebody try to use me as an armrest quite, but but I think I'm just fidgeting too much. So you see how much I move for my blood pressure.
Oh
I'm like
yeah,
ah.
oh yeah. I mean, maybe I'm usually just sitting there in a wheelie, like trying to not pay attention to anybody around me.
Yeah, I primarily
Nice.
use a power chair, and the power chair, like, there's just a lot more space. And I mean,
Oh
you
yeah.
like the back, back parts of the chairs, like the back handlebars and stuff, constantly.
Hmm.
I have these little like wheels in the front that are supposed to like front tippers, and
Oh,
people come up and kick them and start spinning them. I'm like, you're literally kicking me, bro. Do you realize that?
that is so rude. You should like just run into him. Be like, you kicked me, I kicked you. Get out of here.
And
Who
like
does that?
I know. Like very often it's like, just like friends and people around me. It's like, yo, bro.
Yeah.
It's like after a minute though, and I'm like, all right, dog, like, that's enough of that. But, it's funny. And I've met some wild strangers too that like
Jeez. I've had friends like with their kids, or even I've had a couple like random kids in the store, like just because they think the wheels are cool. So yeah, I mean, I think wheels are cool too. Come on and let's play.
But see,
But-
kids are different. Kids
But
I
it's a
always
kid.
forgive.
Not an adult.
That's
See,
really
with
interesting.
kids, I like it if they're more curious and then like they'll actually like ask me or say something, and the parents always freak out like like they don't want you to talk to them, but like
It's contagious.
but yeah, for me it's just like hey, he's curious, if he
Right.
wants to know, like I'm just like yeah, they're wheels, cool, like I just like kind of mess like whatever like. But like, yeah, that I always think that's funny because the kid will say something or whatever, and parents like grab them and pull them away, like don't talk to them.
That's why they
Like,
it's like, you don't need to grab your child and pull them out of like my lane. Like, I'm not gonna run over your kid.
Right? It's like you have a one-track mind and you obviously can't steer around an obstacle.
Right. Like I'm smiling and trying to engage and you're like cowering in fear. But that's just the nature of it. Not everyone's like that, thankfully, but
yeah, no,
It's
no.
getting better. I mean, there's still issues here and there with some companies that haven't quite gotten to this day and age, but we're getting there slowly but surely.
But it's also taught me, I think, a few things in my life too, because I mean, I think it's in our human nature to sometimes, like you encounter things and you react rather than, think about how you react. You just react, right? And I mean, I talked about this for like the longest time. I did not really interact with the disabled community. One was like by virtue of where I live. I just didn't know that many Crips. But like when I came down like here to SoCal and stuff, I don't know, like I had this like thing where it's like if I engaged and like started, hanging or whatever, it's like I would recognize my disability more. Like I was so proud of the independence that I had achieved, and like I felt like it would bring me down or something, which is very wrong and very weird. But it wasn't until like I started kicking it like with all my Crip homies, and I'm like, oh my god, like I found my people, like I found my real people that like I can talk to and understand like just about anything I could bring up, in a very different way. But it's also just like taught me to like understanding and perspective of everybody's situation and stuff. Like who the heck knows? There's like you don't know anybody's situation, unless you really intimately know them, So I found it hard to like pass too much judgment or anything. And like you got to protect your kids, right? I mean, the motherly instincts are hardcore.
Yeah.
There are crazy people in chairs too. They're not all awesome.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Have awareness, and it's like, so I can't knock it. It's easy.
I
for
mean,
me to understand that.
I think that by teaching people that it's okay to fail, as long as you fail towards something, things will get better. So it's okay to fall out of your chair. You need to learn how to fall so that you can be safe, because it's going to happen. But like, let's get you those skills to build you back up and get you back in.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
for
it's,
sure.
it's
So
Yeah,
on that
I
topic
think that's
of-
one thing. That's one thing I think that helped me in the beginning is I got my injury happened when I was 21. I was a snowboarder. I was an adrenaline junkie for sure. Like I was not afraid to fall in my first 2 years of injury. So like I was just like, yeah, I'll whatever. Like I'll go for the transfer. Like once I had made that decision to like do it, like I looked at it as my extreme sport sort of like I just had to throw it at some point. Like I was like I could practice and practice, and then at one point I just needed to try full send and go for the transfer. And that's the way I looked at it because that's the way I grew up and like my mentality was like I grew up an adrenaline junkie, like an extreme athlete. Like so the fear wasn't that was always that was actually an easy part for me. But I understand in a lot of people that's not as easy to to try and fail and fall and get back up.
Well, that's how I ended up doing my first transfer too. Is like I only made it part of the way, and the only way I can make it the rest was to just take a dive, and I did. And my parents were like, "Oh my god!" But I landed on the bed, and I made it.
But I mean, that's that first step, and now you're over the fear. You know the basics of the mechanics, and you know, like, hey, if I'm really scared and I want to send it, just get a brain bucket and go for it.
So what was that rehab like for you? I mean, you said this has been a progressive disease. So I guess like it's been unique in that you've had like a unique time to adapt. Whereas like it wasn't just like all onset at once.
So it's like the first 3 years from 2015 to 2018, when I was still able to like walk and stuff like that, it was just learning how to kind of live without standing a whole lot because it was really, really difficult to be up and like on my leg a lot. After that, it was just I was having a lot of tremors, a lot of spasms where like things I would lose them, I'd throw them, whatever it was. And like my grip slowly started to go away. So I just kind of kept learning and new ways to do things as I would lose more and more function. We did like, I can't even remember all the names of all the procedures we did to try and like slow things down. We did like physical therapy for years, and I finally got to the point where I had to say like, okay, is it worth me sitting in therapy and the doctors day after day after day, or should I chase the goals that I actually have? Because my goal was never to walk again. Like I didn't really care. I just didn't want to keep getting worse. Yeah. So, I mean, now I just kind of full send them into my goals instead, and I've been a lot happier.
No, that's good. Yeah, that's a good. Like we've actually talked about that before too. Is like that decision of like in the beginning, some people focus so hard on like walking again, and like that is their only goal is just to walk and be whatever. Like, but then they end up losing so many other things in their life, like that they don't focus on. They don't concentrate just their regular life, family, friends, just living life and stuff. So I think it's important to just get back to life and living life. And if you're out being active and doing stuff and especially trying to do things on your own and doing everything, like you're going to retain function. You're going to keep strength. You're going to build like it's rehab. That is rehab. Like it's just life rehab.
Living your life is rehab. Like I have normal pens and pencils here so that I have to practice grabbing things and, nice. And you do stuff and it's those little things they want you to do, but you have to do them on your own and do them every day and repeat it.
And that's exactly how it worked for me. Like I went for having all these utensils and stuff. Like, give me a box of pencils and pens and like just let me try, damn it. And you just experiment, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, for real. And figure out what works for you because like what works for me today may not work tomorrow. So like if you have ways that work for you and are better, like shit, send them over to me because I'm still learning this. Like
I always like wanted to say like quad. Less consultants because like I swear to God, like our lives are just problem solving. It's like give us a problem, like we'll figure out a way to tackle it. Figure it out.
We've been saying that for years. People with disabilities have this unique ability to solve problems and solve them quickly and efficiently because that's what we do for a living.
Yeah,
the world is not made for us.
I've been forced to by virtue of the situations. Like you got to look at the world different. You got to look, sit down, with some non-functional digits. And, figure out how you're going to do it.
Yeah. That, and we need to get back to a world where we remember that sticks and stones can break our bones, but words never hurt us. Like, this whole offended by every single little thing that anybody says ever is just hurting us as a society. Like, who are you to get mad at me for calling myself a cripple? Like, let's be real.
So, Kara, you're like one of the people I've met, because I'm, like, I will admit, podcast viewers, I'm sorry, but I use the word cripple too. And
Dude, Tom, your Instagram name is Crip. Your Instagram name is Crip Tom.
I know on my Instagram,
Yeah, your Instagram name is Crip Tom. Of course,
it's funny. It's I'm like I am proudly a Crip. Like I love it. Like I don't want to be like everybody. Damn it. Like I'm a Crip. I'm about it. Let's go. You know. Like I'll do cool shit, cripple. Like I don't care. You know. And that's kind of been like my fun mentality. But I'm with you on that.
We've been talking lately about starting like a joke OnlyFans page for some of the other disabled women I know, and doing it called the Crip Tease, and it's like nothing actual like showing, but it's only half of the show because we're all teasing or whatever.
I love it.
I think it'd be so funny.
That would be great.
So, that's another thing. Actually, I was gonna bring it up later, but just if you guys aren't following Kara on Instagram already at Kind of a Quad, you guys check it out. Follow her. She's doing all kinds of funny, cool stuff. I don't even remember where I first saw you. Somebody shared a post or one of your posts, and I thought it was funny. I was like, oh, and I saw your name, Kind of a Quad. I was like, oh, that chick seems cool, and I just followed you. Like, I think that's literally random. I just found you so like randomly, like, just like thought you just were doing cool stuff, and I like cool stuff, so. Yeah, but so let's talk about some of the other cool stuff you do. And actually, you know what? Before we get into your cool stuff, I did want to touch on your military stuff. So I know you do a bunch of stuff for vets. I've seen you like posting and stuff like that. You're working with vet programs and things like that. And you want to talk about some of that stuff here?
Yeah. So I'm a part of a few different veteran nonprofits that really try to help veterans after military service. So one of them is Record the Journey. They take veterans out into outdoor like photography adventures, and especially combat vets, they have a really hard time coming back into the civilian world and learning to be in the present moment again and stop kind of flashing back all the time to the things that have happened. So she teaches them to basically to see in the present moment through photography and different skills like that. They're also the ones that sponsored me for the Rebel Rally last year that we took second place in. So that was pretty rad.
What's that? If you want to explain a little.
Yeah, it's a 2,400 kilometer off-road navigational rally raid. Yeah,
nice.
So it was so gnarly. But no GPS, like all off-road. We were in a Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, so like your mom's grocery getter, and we ended up taking second place, and it was super rad, and that's kind of where I found my love of driving. And then I work for Oscar Mike. We do a lot of veteran nonprofit stuff for injured veterans that are finding their way through adaptive sports. So we have quad rugby with our team, the Oscar Mike Militia.
Yeah.
We do skydiving. We take them shooting. We teach them to be a family again and kind of get back to that life, and things will be okay.
Awesome. Yeah. That's really, really amazing. Do you mind asking what your role in the military was?
I'm sorry?
What was your role in the military? What was your military history, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I was a communication signals intelligence analyst in the Air Force.
Oh, very cool.
Nice.
Awesome.
So that's a big title for secret squirrel, and I can't really say much more.
That sounds cool.
I have a lot of military family who do work out like China Lake and stuff. So I know what you mean. I know what you're talking about. But that's cool. That's really amazing stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't actually know you were involved with Oscar Mike and stuff. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Tom.
Sorry, I wanted to say thank you for your service. Like, we love our vets.
Yes. Definitely.
We appreciate, everyone out there. I know we have some viewers that, have served too. And we just appreciate all you guys, all your sacrifices, for sure.
Thank you.
Absolutely. What were you saying, Sean?
Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you. And, but yeah, I was going to also just say, I didn't actually know you were involved with Oscar Mike. I actually know a bunch of those guys, like Tim Vixay. I don't know if you know Tim, but Tim's one of my good friends. I met him we were both injured around the same time and started playing rugby about the same time, like 15 years ago or so. And just became good friends. And then I just met a lot of those guys. And then we've actually, the last 2 years, played Oscar Mike at nationals, or no, sectionals last year. I think we didn't make but because yeah, we
We probably met in person.
I was gonna
Did
say
you
I
guys-
don't know if we actually met, but I think I must have seen you at a tournament then. I had to have, but yeah. So
That's so
it's just
funny.
random rugby world.
What a small, weird world, man.
I know, it's funny.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's what. So once rugby starts going again, hopefully we'll get tournaments. So we'll get to do a face to face.
Yeah, I'll be sure to stuff you in the corner.
Ha! No, that's my. See, I'm the .5. If you ever try to inbound on the sideline or in the corner, you are done. You're trapped. Mine. You are not leaving.
Luck. Good luck. I got some things I've been working on in my off time. I got a driveway full of able-bodied people and some trucks. I got you.
Okay.
I love it. That's so awesome. I recently started to play quad rugby, like right before all this COVID stuff hit, and it was so awesome getting out there and playing.
Yeah,
some
we were
good
bringing
shit.
Tom out to practices and stuff, getting him in the chair, got him playing. So, yeah, that's.
Yeah.
It was sick.
Like,
So fun.
have they lit you up yet and like thrown you out of your chair?
Oh, I got lit up a couple times. Heck yeah. Well, it's funny. We had this guy, like he's a good friend of Sean's, Dell. Like dude, he doesn't care. He'll just take you out. Like all the guys though will. But that's what I love about it. It's like they don't really give a shit in the sense that like they'll just take you like everybody else. And like that's what I want though. Is like I just want you to like come and like take me out. Like I want to take the hit because that's what I love there.
Yeah.
It's fun. Like that's what those chairs are designed to do too.
Honestly,
It's the greatest. When I first started playing, like as a female, they don't really want to hit you as hard, and so I was like, fuck this. Like I'm just gonna start lighting people up, and then they'll have to. And now that's what I like to do is just light people up. It gives me a rush.
They don't call it a murder ball for nothing. Like you gotta.
Amen. They don't. It is violent. It's bloody, and I love it.
yeah. And honestly, besides just the fun awesomeness of the sport, rugby's where I learned so much just from the other people being in that community. Because the rugby guys, like when I first would go to rugby, they would like, I'd have somebody helping me doing something like, why are you having them help you do that?
Yeah.
Do that yourself. Like, and they're the people that would tell oh yeah, all right, I'll try it myself. Like, because I didn't want to look like a dork.
With like wheelie bars, and they're like, why do you have those bitch bars on? You look stupid. And you're like, oh, yeah, I'm the only one here with those on. All right, those are gone. See you never.
So that's
You
what.
show up with a seatbelt, and they're like, oh, what are you going to go driving? Like, you look stupid. Go. Okay.
Exactly. I got all those. So the only thing I didn't ditch is my wheelie bars because I have the emotion wheels, and sometimes I'll accidentally give it too much, or I get trunk spasms. It'll just throw me back, and like I'll hit the wheels. So for me, I'm just like screw it. I don't care. But all the other stuff, yeah. They're like, why do you have a seatbelt? Why do you have armrests? Why you got like I don't know. Why do I have those?
Oh, they put this on here, and I don't know how to get it off.
It's so funny though. I thought I was like hot shit, and then like I met some of these, I call them like super quads, and I was, damn, I was like, I got some work to do over here. But it's funny, you see their setups, like you see them like in like a full-time manual chair, and so it's like, fuck, like I got to step my game up. But it's cool, like I love that too, because like those examples, seeing those examples and stuff, I mean, it does, like it's like inspiring, like it inspires me. Like I see like some quads doing some shit like I did not know was possible, and then it's gonna go home and practice and figure it out until I can do it too,
And like the only difference between you and them is they have spent those hours failing to figure out how to get it done.
Exactly.
So like there's people like Jeremy who are welding. Like
Yeah, Jeremy's a
if
badass.
We're gonna tell somebody in the mainstream like America society, like, hey, there's a quadriplegic that's like welding these gnarly dimes day after day after day. They'd be like, you're fucking lying. You're stupid. A quad can't move all their arms, and they're like
Yeah,
no.
Jeremy does some really incredible welding. I actually have one of my brothers is like really into cars and welding and stuff, and I sent him one of Jeremy's links, and he's like, yo, dude, your buddy Jeremy actually has got really good like his beads and stuff. Like he's actually a really quality welder, not just like oh, he can weld as a quad, like, and he just puts metal together.
No,
Like, no, he
he
makes
is
really cool stuff.
gnarly.
Like he's really good. Yeah.
I met him at the Abilities Expo. And he showed me some stuff, and I was like, damn, like I want to come and like smith some things with you. Like,
Oh
let's
no,
go.
you met Austin actually. You met Austin, Tom. But Austin is a badass. Austin Kruger. I don't know if you know Austin, Kara.
I
He's
do.
a rugby dude out of Vegas. He actually coaches and plays the Vegas or for the Vegas team. Austin
I
Kruger. He
might
played for
have
you.
met him.
He's a 2. He played for USA actually, like I think, or tried out for like a few years
Yeah.
back. So
Yeah,
he's really
he
good.
is.
He's a high quality player, but he has his own welding shop too. But he does like bigger, like big weld jobs and stuff. Jeremy is like art, like he does gimp art. I think it's called Jeremy's gimp art, and like he actually does like crazy cool, like really cool little tight little pieces, like just really cool stuff. But yeah, both of them, and Austin's a badass welder too. He's that's just another quad that's doing it. Like, I mean, it just shows you that limitations are just,
Yeah.
you can
I
just
love that because like it's so true. I mean, I'm a software engineer and like I can't move my fingers, and yet like you learn to type, you learn to do shit, right? Like that is what you do. It's like what you said. You spend enough time doing anything. You dedicate 10,000 hours to anything. I don't care how mobility impaired you think you are. Like if there's a will, there's a way. Like you can figure it out. I mean, shit, you can drive a rally car, 2,400 miles across,
Dude, that's
like
badass,
rugged
yeah.
terrain. Right? Like that's crazy.
And the biggest thing I learned from that is that, like, one, that driving was my passion, because when I was driving, nobody else could see anything wrong with me. Like, that was my moment of normalcy. And I was, like, I was on par, if not, a little better than some of the people we were put up against. So it was really, really it was super empowering for me. And then it showed me so many deficits in the automotive world for people with disabilities, and how shitty our options actually are right now. Like, the driving controls we have for like portable use are trash.
Oh,
And
the
they're
portable ones are
absolute-
not good. No.
They're so awful. And if you get into an accident with those, you are getting gutted. Like, that is going straight through your stomach. You are gonna pull your entrails out your belly button, and that's gross.
So, do you use hand controls, or do you have enough function to use the pedals still, or how do you drive?
I have hand controls for everything. I have no nothing.
Okay, I was just curious because I know a few people that still have like just enough function to use pedals and stuff, like without, like they're in their chair full time, but they have enough, like just like whatever couple things. So do you have portable hand controls, or do you actually have built-in?
I have portables, and we're working on getting more. I'm working on fabricating hand controls that are more responsive and safer for portable use in both automatic transmission and manual transmission cars.
Whoa, that would be
When
crazy.
you make it, sell it to someone for a bunch of money.
I don't even want the money. Like, I want everybody to have the same chance to have that opportunity for independence, because like that's what it was for me, was driving. Like,
Garrett, thank you for saying that, because that's really what I'm all about too. It's like developing tools and technology to assist individuals in their daily lives, make things easier, a little bit better, but like provide it for free. There are so many incredible tools out there, but they're so out of reach for 99% of us, and it's a shame. It's a shame.
I mean, you already got to pay to pee. Why can't I give you something for free that'll fucking help you and make your life so much better? Like, this is ridiculous. People talk about like their right to live. Like, how about your right to pee for free?
That's actually what we talked about last week. We were doing like a catheter bladder thing, like, and the fact that most people have to pay way too much money a month just for catheters, just to go pee every time. Like, it's crazy. Like,
$13 a pop. It's like
Right?
$13 a pop.
Have you seen the hashtag that was going around, the cost of living disabled or the cost of disability? People were talking about how they couldn't afford catheters and they were using cocktail straws.
What?
Cocktail straws, reusing cocktail straws as catheters because they couldn't afford them. That is ridiculous in today's America.
Yeah, well, I mean, I definitely know a lot of people that are like have to reuse catheters. They boil them and reuse and stuff, and like
No,
even
I'm
just
serious.
that is like just too like
That's
you shouldn't have
asking
to
for
do
a
that.
UTI to go septic and die.
Yeah,
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 I mean, beyond that, it's just like imagine not just maybe only like reusing catheters, but using catheters that's slightly different size. It's like, oh, it'll be close enough. Yet
No.
it's not right. You end up with strictures. You end up, like stretching things that shouldn't be stretched, dilating, your urethra, whatever it is, right? Doing
You don't
things.
want to. You don't want to mess that stuff up forever.
So I actually even know a friend, a quad, who's been probably 30 years post injury, who for the first 25 years of his injury, or like close to 25 years, intermittent cath. But back for those early years, they weren't very good catheters. Oops. So he ended up, crap. He ended up completely tearing up his urethra.
Oh, we lost your microphone. I think it was in one of the earbuds.
Oh no. Hold on.
Oh no!
No, you're okay. We can kind of hear you. It's just
Okay.
muffled.
Bring it up to your mouth.
Okay, I don't think that's the mic. Oh, it's just you guys that can't hear me. My bad. It's the audience can hear me fine because they're hearing another microphone. But so, what I was gonna say is though he ended up tearing up his urethra so bad from intermittent cathing, just because like on the older catheters the eyelets would like scrape and tear the inside of the urethra. So he ended up having to get a suprapubic catheter about 5 years ago, and he had to switch to the suprapubic just because the damage to urethra was so bad over the years. So yeah, that's just another issue that you could have. But
Yeah.
So if you don't mind me getting a little personal now, feel free to share as much as you want, Karen, as always. But how do you manage your daily care? Do you have caregivers? Are you able to handle it all on your own? Do you get assistance from family members or anything like that?
I pretty much do everything on my own that I can. If I'm struggling or having a bad day, I do ask my boyfriend for help. Our home isn't accessible. We started dating a little over a year ago, and I don't think he ever like dreamt up one day that he was going to be with a cripple. So like the house isn't accessible, But yeah, so like getting into the shower is kind of weird, just with the way the shower chair is and this weird metal lip, and scares me because I don't want to accidentally credit card myself, and like
Yeah.
I'm just not about it. So I do ask for help with that just to make my life a little less scary. But
Yeah.
for the most part, I pretty much get everything done.
Do you have a shower chair that you use?
Yeah.
In the shower? Okay.
Yep, shower chair. I do everything else on myself. Yeah.
No, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm dating someone. She's a quad C5
Yeah.
too, and the reason I ask is like she manages all of her care on her own through some miracle. I don't know. I don't know how she does it. It impresses the fuck out of me every time. But that's like a huge part of independence, right? I manage it as independently as I can, but I have like daily care in the morning. Now, not every day. I have like pretty flexible, awesome caregivers. Like if I just want to skip my care one day, it's like no big deal. But I can't get in and out of the shower independently, so like I require someone to assist me. But it's something that I kind of always constantly work on. And I mean, even like aspects like performing my care, like a big like part of that, like the inspiration was kind of Sean with like doing all his crazy rugby traveling that he does. God damn it. Like I want to travel, like I want to hop on a plane and like go somewhere and, stay for a few days, but like be able to manage my care. Like if not like I do at home, to a degree that I can be comfortable and stuff. So that was like a mission, right? It's like, okay, how do I troubleshoot this? What are the tools? How can I change up what I do now to, make this something that I can do in a hotel room or something?
Yeah. Well, I mean, take those opportunities. Grab one of your trusted friends or your caregiver that you can like have right there if you fall or something, and go to a hotel for a night and practice and learn and like figure out new ways. I mean, that's the only way to do it, is to get into it and do it.
You said it, and that's absolutely it. That's how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
You take those trusted people, like, yo, going away for a night.
Oh, yeah.
Come and kick it in the hotel.
Let's
Make
go.
sure I
You're in
spend
Cali. You
on
can
the
have
phone.
like pretend it's the 90s and like things are not so legal, and you can just go like have a smoke sesh and just figure it out. That way it doesn't hurt when you fall.
So
Yeah.
you want to know? Like, this is a funny story. Like
Oh,
my
boy.
trial, one of my trial and errors was
Mhm.
like I was staying over at my girlfriend's place, and I like went for my transfer, and the bed, like, it was on these wheels. It had rolled like a little bit, and I missed my transfer, and I ended up on the floor.
Nice.
And it's 2 quads. Like, how the fuck do you get one up off the floor? Well, she had a queen size air mattress, and boom, genius idea. Rolled that sucker out, plugged it in. I crawled my crumpled ass on top of that air mattress, and we inflated it. And it was just high enough, right? It was like a 2-inch lift to my chair, transfer chair, bing, bang, boom, let's go.
That's
Dude, that is
awesome,
so
dude.
smart.
But like that is like that trial and error. Like you figure it out, you know?
Right? Lately,
No, that
so,
is
like,
definitely
I'll sneeze,
thinking.
and I get a really big spasm that'll come with my sneeze, and it's been throwing me out of my chair lately, which is hilarious to me, but scary for everybody else around.
Right.
So I'm getting even better at getting back in my chair these days. I'll teach you some tricks.
Hey, I'm about it, dude. Like we need to, you need to talk to Sean. We need to make some videos because, like watching like some people do that kind of stuff. Like I've seen some quads do some crazy tricks. I mean, even Sean, dude. Like,
Dude,
like you get
Just
down
YouTube, YouTube how to recover from your wheelchair, and like you'll find videos of like quads getting up from like their back,
Yeah, no, I've
getting
seen
out of their chair. It's horrible. Where I learn all my stuff.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
one thing I
and,
haven't
it's
actually
really, like,
gotten down
kind of
is from the
techniques,
floor
you
to
know?
my chair
Like
yet.
it's amazing what you can do, you know, with like the quad strength, you know, that limited like, you know, muscles. If you learn the tricks. What were you saying?
Yeah.
Oh, that's one thing I haven't figured out is getting from the floor to my chair, or I haven't had to, I guess. I think I could if I actually came down to it. Like I've had ideas and I know because I can get almost like a foot up from my chair. So if I just cause like if I was outside, I thought about it. Like I'd try to put my chair in the street and like get my butt on a sidewalk, and I think I could get from the sidewalk. Like I've thought of,
so
what
in
you
my
can
head, I've
do
went over
is if you
scenarios.
If you put your feet together and you kind of like get your knees to stay together, I lean them like a little bit so they're off camber, and then you dip your head down at the same time you're kind of pushing off as hard as you can. It'll actually lift your butt up for you as like that motion. It's
Right.
like a weird physicsy trick.
No, that's actually because when I do my transfer, so my transfer looks nothing like most people's transfer. That's actually what I started my YouTube channels was just showing because my transfer was just different. I instead of using both arms, like my lead arm, I actually have I have my elbow on whatever I'm transferring to, and I almost like lean into my elbow and pivot on my arm. Like it's using more physics than it is strength. Like, but it takes, like I said before, that like send it factor in the beginning. It takes you going like committing to this like I basically dive my head towards the ground to do my transfer.
Yeah.
But it shoots my butt up and gets me up and over to like where I need to do. So like yeah, no, you're right. It is about technique and physics a lot of it. Like if you just have to figure out the right angles and things, that helps so much. You can't just brute strength everything. Like especially as a
Yo,
quad.
bro, I'm still having some audio issues. I'm getting most of your words, but it's kind of cutting out sometimes. I don't know if it's like the mic is far away.
I got it on the desk right in front of me.
Mic between us, and I think the viewers can still hear him.
Yeah, you guys
I'm
talk.
not sure.
Let me switch something real quick. You guys go ahead.
But in any case, yeah, I mean, I love those quad tricks, and yeah, like learning the physics of like the transfers and stuff. And you know, like one thing we do talk about all the time is, I mean, it's very hard at the beginning. I mean, just like anything, you know, when you're first building those muscles and you're first developing the muscles that you're going to be using to transfer every day. I mean, obviously, it's going to take months, and, you know, like sometimes years to get to where you're going to be comfortable doing it easily, you know. But there's only one way to do it, and it's kind of putting in the time, you know. And I mean, that really is the only way to do it.
You gotta pay the dues to the wheelchair gods.
Yeah, exactly.
With so much blood and skin.
Oh, no, I did want to touch on something from our chat real quick. Kara, this was a guy asking a question from last week. He had just posted it a couple times. I didn't want to touch on it. We were talking about catheterizing. We had a guest on who has like pretty severe scoliosis and had a surgery. It's called Mitrofanoff procedure. It allows you to catheterize through your abdomen.
Yeah.
And you're just asking how the scoliosis affected that procedure, or if there are any complications.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking.
My experience, she didn't have any issues as a result of her scoliosis. Now, I do know someone who does have pretty significant scoliosis in similar fashion and has the Mitrofanoff procedure and has had some issues as a result of it. The way your body shapes and moves can very often impact and affect things like that. Now, it was the placement of her stoma that was like the reason I think she has the complications she does. But someone in the chat said, "Talk to your doctor, Ed."
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest too.
They're the pros. They can look at your special scoliosis that's unique to you and tell you what you need to do. But I doubt it's something that will hinder them from doing it. They just may need to do a specialized surgery at a different location or something. But yeah, talk to your doctor. That's the best route.
Yeah, thanks. I saw him in the chat. I just was gonna kind of get to it.
I figured I'd do it while you were fixing your mic, and we can hear you loud and clear, bro. It's perfect now.
All right, cool. Yeah, I switched the mic input for you guys now, so we're all good.
No, I think when you lost the headphone, we lost the mic or something.
Yeah.
It's all good.
For sure.
So we are kind of approaching the end of the hour, which we are allowed to go over. You know, it's like we talk as long as we want. But one thing we kind of do towards the end is advice for other Crips out there, other quads, other pairs, other people rocking the chair. Do you have any other advice outside of the advice that you already gave for them, Kara? Which again, like you had some really great nuggets, some stuff like a veteran quad is gonna take in my pocket and like try to implement in my life. Like I love that, like code words for asking for help and stuff and things like that. Like that's so awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, just do what you got to do to get what you need done. Like, don't worry about what everybody else around you needs done, because you can't actually help anybody until you are taken care of.
And you're your best advocate.
Amen. Because you are the only one that has been down your path. People can say that they've experienced things, but nobody has quite experienced life as you have. And we all walk that or roll that different path every day.
Yeah, no, exactly. There's some crazy conditions out there too, you know. And just like what I think you said earlier on, Kara, it's like not everyone can look and see and accept or understand, you know, your situation, which means that they are not always the best people, you know, advocating on your behalf or communicating your care. And you know, it's very, very important. I tell every like new quad, new pair I meet, understand and learn your care, understand and learn your body, you know, because nobody can know it like you can, nobody can feel like you can, and you know, like you need to be the boss of how you take care of yourself, and even if that means like instructing or getting other people to help you, you need to learn and have an understanding of that care so you can communicate it to other people, communicate it to those same people if it's not right, if it's not working, you know. And like you got to be able to advocate.
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you how many doctors I've had that didn't know that hand controls were available for people to drive. Doctors, like how in the world did you graduate medical school and you didn't know that hands can work as pedals?
Well, another thing is like actually we didn't really even touch on. We can do a real quick. Another thing doctors don't know about is AD, like going to the hospital and you're dealing with autonomic dysreflexia, and you know, doctor like they're in the ER and have no idea what like what do you mean your blood pressure so yeah, if you want to touch, you said you do deal with AD as with your, you know, with your diagnosis as well with your neurological disorder. Do you want to mention what you know, what helps with that and stuff, or what you do, or what triggers it even also?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a few different things that kind of trigger it for me. I don't know if it's like that for you guys too. But if like something is cut, or if I like bang my leg into something really, really hard, It'll trigger the AD reflexia reaction if I have to pee and I haven't gone for a long time and I start to like
Yeah,
sweat real bad. Like I know what it
Triggers
is,
us, right?
right?
that's the most common for me is pee.
Yeah. Um,
But
Intimacy, like sexual relations, actually trigger it for me too. If I start to get to that point of like climax, I guess you'll put it, like it'll trigger it for me, and that's actually how I know it's about to happen. Is I'll start to like feel everything go wonky, and I've actually like passed out during
oh
during
wow,
sex
that's scary.
before, so it's fun. But like
We've
trying
had
to explain that to the people in your life when you're like, I'm about to pass out, and they're like, what, why? And yeah.
we might need to have you on to talk about like a future episode on like sex and relationships because
Yeah.
like AD is like one of the most common side effects is like orgasm for someone with paralysis and stuff. But
Yeah.
like that was kind of crazy, like understanding that and talking about it. Like, what do you mean you're gonna pass out? Stuff like that, you know, like how it all works.
Well, so the first time he legitimately thought he killed me, and he's like, "Oh no, like I did this." I was
Oh
like,
my god.
"Calm down, there, Hercules." But,
So
that's hilarious.
how do you manage your AD?
so a multitude of things. One, I just kind of manage my body and my like recognize my body and what I need to do to keep things healthy. And then I actually use medical cannabis to help
Nice.
kind of manage the symptoms until I can get my symptoms calmed down. I'll either have Gage stand me up or I'll lay completely flat, but it has to be one or the other. And again, if I stand up, it'll be if I stand up, like I have him stand me up, it sometimes will make me pass out anyways. So.
Do you have like any other blood pressure issues, like low blood pressure or anything like that?
I didn't. They had me on a weird low blood pressure or a blood pressure lowering medication for nightmares for a while, but it wasn't for anything like actual blood pressure related.
The main reason I ask is it's very common for women with quadriplegia to have like chronic low blood pressure.
Yeah.
On the other spectrum of like AD side, like low blood pressure side too.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting.
No, I mean, I think my blood pressure's always been low for the last like few years, but not like medicationally low, like needing of medication.
Yeah, no,
That
for
makes
sure.
sense.
I mean,
Airtime just said they're watching from Europe and smoking a doobie right now. He's a C5 quad.
Hey.
Shout out Air Kid.
Yeah, Eric.
Join here soon. Yeah, I mean, Sean and I, we're big proponents of medical cannabis. It can have some really profound and positive effects on the quad life, I've found, in terms of like treating that high blood pressure. For me, like my biggest like treatment I use it for is my spasticity. Like as I've gotten further along in my life, my quad life, my spasms have gotten a lot worse, especially at night. I struggle big time. You know, like late at night, after a few hours in bed, my legs just get excited and they like to dance while I'm laying there. And smoking is one of the only things that can like instantaneously calm my legs down. Like that body high will instantly. I mean, I can feel it take effect, and it'll buy me a few hours. It'll buy me some time. It's the only thing I've ever found that can help me like that. And I've used topicals, smoke. I know Sean, you're like a big fan of like smoking the edibles.
Well, I smoke the edibles I use at night for that same purpose. Like smoking will last a few hours, but if I do the edible, it'll kind of carry through the full night. So I sleep a much like better night's sleep usually if I do an edible before bed. So that's just like it helps a lot.
The medical cannabis I was prescribed, it's actually prescribed for my appetite, not even for my spasms. But that was one of the things that I lost is that I no longer have that like hungry signal in my brain. So
Me too.
yeah, it's the only way. And you'll see my cheeks are real sunken in because I'm not doing a good job these days. But yeah, eating's a struggle.
Yeah, no, I have the same kind of thing. Like I don't have a great appetite unless I smoke. And then or like so what'll happen is I'll just be out doing things, and then all of a sudden it'll hit me like all at once. Like, oh my God, my body's just weak and I'm like ready to pass out. Blood pressure drops, like I have no energy at all and I need food. Like so that's what happens when I don't smoke is I get that like super drop. Like
Well,
it
we get
hits me too.
hypoglycemic because we get super low blood sugar, like from
That
not
makes
moving our body, and it hits like a wall.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Well,
One
maybe we
quick,
need to send you
one
some
more,
cupcakes.
one last thing too. Somebody asked about Ed asked about taking CBD. If you I do CBD, and I do a little bit of CBD as well too. It does help. In addition, for sure. I don't know, you guys.
Yeah. So what I'm prescribed is literally just the THC. So all of the CBD has been taken out. So I actually do take I take CBD supplements from Pure Mana to replace that, so that I'm getting the whole plant instead of just half.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I like the full spectrum too. I definitely like 10 more on the THC side. I found that like pure CBD, like it does have some body effect, but not to the degree that I like can if I like, have like a heavy indica to like calm my body down, like guaranteed. The CBD that I do use is usually within like mixed within topicals. It's usually a ratio. Like and I mean, I'm not a cannabis scientist, so like don't on this. But I have read and before that you do need some THC, and it can be a very small ratio to activate the cannabidiols and the CBDs that like are within whatever product you're using. So if you are using a pure CBD product, and like just read into it, look into it. I do know that in order to activate the full spectrum of cannabidiols, it can be as little as like 0.3% THC and stuff, but I do know that some is necessary for that. So if you're looking at that route, look into it a little bit more. And yeah, we all use cannabis.
Yeah, we all do. Yeah. All right. Cool.
I would ask, you guys smoke vaporizers? Yes.
Yes, we also do vaporizers. Yep. I think that's it for the questions. All right, that's cool. We can start to wrap it up now. That was a nice little end on cannabis. End on a good note here.
Always, and on the high note.
That's right. End on the high note. Perfect. You said well said. All right. So
thank you so much for joining us today.
yeah, we really appreciate you.
Lots of really, really cool information.
Thank you so much. And sorry for being such a pain in the butt to get this together, man. It has just been so crazy lately.
Oh no, you were great. You were all good. No, you're
Oh,
and yeah. So and also one more shout out. Just make sure you follow Kind of a Quad on Instagram. That's she's doing all kinds of cool stuff, posting lots of cool, funny stuff too. So and just really good, cool stuff that just doing good stuff.
Shout out our host with the most, Sean Fu. Thank you. Shout out Let's Roll for putting together this channel and putting together the stream and the production and everything, man. This would not happen without you, bro. So appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys. All right, everybody, thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys again next week, and every Tuesday, 3:30. Tune back.
Hit that like button.
Hit the like. Yeah, subscribe.